Well, the story is that Julia's mother had Isadora and Sergei over.
They were doing the singing poetry into Yiddish for the Jewish Daily Forward.
Her mother was a poet, in the Yiddish community.
So that
they were over.
turned out to be quite scandalous.
brawl.
Yeah. There was a group of Yiddish poets who wanted to translate from Esenian's Russian into Yiddish for the newspaper called the Jewish Daily Forward, which published only in Yiddish language at that time. So they made an evening for him. My mother prepared the evening, and she didn't think that Isadora was going to come. They thought it was Esenian. They didn't imagine the rest of the story. The bell rings, and my mother lives in the Bronx. I am sent to stay somewhere else because I am also too small. And my mother knew that Isadora was not happy when she saw a small child, the same age as her own children that she had lost. So my mother answers the door, and who stands there? Isadora. And 5 flights, because we always lived on the first floor, and Esenian, and another man, and they're ready to come in. And Isadora sees how disturbed my mother is, and she walks in. Oh, so this is so charming. I've always dreamt of having a little place like this for myself, a little hideaway, she said. My mother said she was ready to pass out, because it was too much. So here they were, and Esenian is invited also, and he's dressed immaculately, and Isadora is wearing a Fortuny dress with the little beads, all pleated. And she comes in, and everyone says, Isadora, here's a piano in the house. Here's a lady who knows how to play the piano. She studied with the man who plays the piano for you. She's a very wonderful pianist. Isadora says, but I didn't come here to dance. I came here with Esenian because you are working together, and I want to be part of what him. And they would not let her go. Push and push, and Esenian is getting more and more drunk. And finally, she saw that she couldn't. She said, all right, I'll dance a small. And she stands up. And Esenian saw her stand up. He was furious. Because his evening.
Yes, it's his day.
So he grabbed her clothes, hit her, and tore her dress. And by this time, they could see he was out of control. So they put him in wet towels, and they took him back to the hotel. And Isadora didn't know what to do, so she stayed. She stayed in the house, and she sat with my mother, who was trying to give her some comfort.
Bolshevik newlyweds, Isadora Duncan and Sergei Esenian arrived in Boston today. Instantly upon their arrival, they hung a large red flag at their hotel room and yelled, "Long live Bolshevism!" from the window. During Miss Duncan's performance tonight, she tore off her costume for an extended period, revealing her naked upper torso.
I love your mother especially.
Oh, thank you.
That you gave it everything you had and more. No, I'm also a sculptor. Everyone has a piece So I sculpt as much as I can. You have the contour. What is it or called the solar plexus? You see this little solar plexus between the breasts is a seat of emotion. So every dancer who is learning what the body is has to understand emotion and how it affects the body. I always danced from I was very small. My mother found out that Anna Duncan was teaching in Carnegie Hall.
And they all have name Duncan. Why?
They were named Duncan because at the time of the war, to travel through
Which war?
Europe, all 6 girls had different names and came
It
from
was
different countries.
1914 war, right?
This was 1915, 16, about that period when they were traveling. But they could not get passports because each one came from a different country. So in order to make it easier and smoother, she gave them all her name. I have Teresa and Erica and Lisa
Lisa.
and Isadora.
Just have to do this.
Okay,
This is
now we
Isadora.
get and Anna and Irma and Margot, who passed away, unfortunately, the first one. But these were the famous Isadorables. This one teacher, Anna Duncan, was a beautiful dancer. So she became my teacher, and then when I was 16, she said to me, Isadora passed away, and I have been invited to perform in the Lewison Stadium, which was then with city colleges. So we were a big success, and it was wonderful. And everybody was happy that we could carry the tradition. So we were the new Isadora Duncan company. And we toured with Irma. We fulfilled, Yurok was the manager. And we had big concerts, and that was our work. I was working with Irma for maybe 10 years, teaching and performing, until she decided to retire. I then went into my own dancing. It was wartime. And I performed whatever concert, good reviews. It was 1977, 100 years since her birth. We have to make a group to show, because people haven't seen it since our performance was like 20 years earlier, but nothing in between was gone. Nobody, they knew the name Isadora Duncan, but that's the only reputation that remained. So we formed then the Isadora Duncan Dance Company. And Laurie was one of the young people that then were 18 years old. There came 10 people from all over, different corners, from London, from Paris. It goes on. There is no ending. And that's very miraculous to me, because I come and I teach them dances that are maybe 100 years old,
You
but
still
they're
teach?
not dead.
You still teach?
Yes, well, I got Laurie's or I was when I'm in California and Florida when I went down there.
You
I
were
went
teaching?
down there because these people had to be resolved. In other words, you can't let it become a habit or a manner. It has to be alive.